All right. Well, good afternoon, Legacy Bible Church. It's Tuesday. We normally do this on Wednesday, chat time with Sarah, and uh, it's approaching Christmas.
It is
Today
5 days out.
December 20th. So, Merry Christmas to everyone out there. And Sarah has her Christmas shirt on.
I do have a Santa. Santa's okay, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and I have
Oh, yeah. And so chat time.
yes.
Yeah.
So I wanted to take it a little bit personal, not
Mhm.
just kind of talk on a personal level, not just theology and whatnot. But I
Mhm.
thought it'd be a good time because we don't really get to hear about you and your history, your testimony. We share a little bit, but I just thought it'd be a fun time to find out what was Christmas like before
Mhm.
you were a believer, and then how has it gone since then?
Mhm.
What does Christmas mean to you? And then if we have time, maybe touch on the fact that you said Santa was okay, because there's a lot of things out there that,
Mhm.
there's a lot of things about Christmas. But let's just first start. Tell us a
Yeah.
little bit about you and Christmas past.
Hmm. Okay. Well, Christmas was always for me kind of a magic time. For the audience, I became a believer at 48. So Christmas for me was a magic time because if you're a little kid and
Mhm.
you don't have a lot as a child, Christmas time when you get toys and stuff, that's a pretty amazing time.
Mhm.
So then that was my childhood. My parents, especially my mother, made Christmas just a magical time at our house. It was amazing, and I have fond memories. I won't belabor our discussion here with it, but just amazing memories of Christmas growing up and what it's like to, on Christmas Eve to go to bed and to know that all these presents are going to be under the tree and you can't sleep and you get up in the middle of the night and sneak out and see if Santa's come yet
That's fun.
so all of that was part of growing up. And so Robin had her Christmas traditions, as her family has an amazing Christmas tradition that Robin grew up with. And so we wanted to make Christmas a special time for our kids, for our four kids. And so um, Christmas was, and I give Robin all the credit for this.
Hmm.
Robin made Christmas a magic time, does make Christmas a magic time for, and when I say magic, I don't mean woo woo. I should say a
Just
very, very special
special.
time. Yeah.
And let me just tell you about being married and Christmas. Christmas is the ultimate group project where everyone is supposed to work together, and then one person does all the work, but everyone gets the credit. So I believe that Robin probably took moms typically
You're the one person in your family, aren't
that
you?
takes on the load, and then
Mhm.
everyone's like, "Thank you, mommy and
Yeah,
daddy." Yeah, it's a group project where one person does the work, but everyone gets the credit.
that's great. I love
Hmm.
it. That's pretty much how it is.
Yeah. So she made
So,
it special for
yeah.
you, for the kids.
Oh, Robin, she still does, just
Still
pours
does.
herself into making Christmas just a very, very special,
Hmm.
special time. And the kids, all four of our kids, are all adults off living their adult lives and just have amazing memories. Just like I have amazing memories growing up as a child of Christmas, so do our kids. And so, Christmas time on that level for me, it's about the kids. Come on. Christmas, isn't it?
Hmm.
Christmas is about the kids. Now, we do things, Robin and I do things for each other, obviously, and we do things for our parents and other people, but the focus and the emphasis just pours into the kids. And not just kids in our family, but kids. To
Hmm.
me, when you ask me, so what is Christmas to you? Uh, because of the 48 years before I became a Christian, what it was, it's a time to really create a special event for the children. And so that's Christmas. That's what it was for me, and that's what it has been still remains today to make Christmas a special thing for the kids.
And did any of it shift after you became a believer?
Not that part of it. Making it a special, really fun, if I can use the term without sounding woo woo,
We can.
magical
Magical.
time For the kids, no, that never changed. Christmas is just about, on one level, is about making just a very fun, memorable, special, magical, not woo woo, but man, I'm gonna stop saying that, by the way. Magical time for the kids, and that's never changed. That probably never will change for us.
Yeah, I think so too. We have our fun traditions, and
Yeah.
um, Christmas. Whenever you ask kids, especially maybe a kid that's grown up in the church, they know their first answer should be, "It's about baby Jesus." And so whenever I say, "What are you most excited about?"
Mhm, mhm.
and my kids, one of the younger one will say, "Well, it's Jesus's birthday." I'm like, "Well, of course." I'm like,
Presents.
"Of course, but what are you really excited about?" And then they get that little bashful grin and they say
Mhm,
presents.
mhm,
And I will tell you, early on as a believer, I was forced to say that Christmas was about the birth of Jesus. And now, on the journey that I've been on now, understanding what the New Testament authors
mhm,
intended us, it takes pressure off, and I don't feel
mhm,
this pressure to be like, well, Christmas really is about it, baby Jesus, because probably it wasn't December 25th when he was born, right? And we can just make Christmas just a yes. Let's take that day and celebrate Jesus. I am all
mhm,
for that.
mhm,
We do Advent, we do all the fun things, but then Christmas, it's okay for it
mhm.
just to be fun. So I just wanted to hear some of
Well,
your
that was a good
thoughts.
way to start the discussion
Yeah, what
about
are your
what
thoughts?
was it like for you? And for, most of my life, I was not a believer.
Hmm.
And so Christmas had a very important place in my life, and I wasn't a believer. Jesus wasn't a part
So
of
it
that.
didn't come into it even with your family. It didn't Jesus? You didn't. It was just about Santa and presents.
Well, the Christian aspect of it entered in, I would say, in a significant way in the way we decorate the house, things that we put up
Hmm.
around the house to have some recognition, because that's not unimportant. The fact that Jesus is if I can use the silly saying, Jesus is
Yes,
the
the
reason for
reason.
the season.
Hmm.
And in fact, when I was an executive in my former life, for a railroad, I was asked to give a prayer at a Christmas dinner for the executive leadership team. And one of the guys that asked said, "Well, just be sure you consider the fact that there are non-Christians in the group here, and you keep that." And what that means is, don't make the prayer about the Son, about Jesus. And so I got up in front of the group. I was a fairly new Christian, and so I said, "Nope, I'm not going to do that." Today I would probably just honor the fact, just to be honoring that
Yeah.
there are some non-believers and maybe some
Hmm.
Jewish, uh, Muslim
Hmm.
in the group, and just be respecting and honoring of that. But at that time I wasn't, and so I said, "Nope, I'm going to make it all about Jesus," and I did. And so I do think that that's an important part, obviously, of the Christmas season, but it's separate from the commercial part.
Hmm.
It really is. It's really difficult, I would say maybe even impossible, to merge that magical fun, make it all about presents and decorating a Christmas tree and eating, things that you only eat at Christmas
Hmm.
time, lots of sweets and cookies and yada yada. You know what I'm saying. It's difficult to homogenize that with the idea that what we're celebrating here is the day that the Savior, the Son of God, the Messiah,
Hmm.
was sent into the world. Notwithstanding the fact that 9 months earlier the Holy Spirit had something to do with it, but Jesus is being given birth and is a unique individual, separate from the womb of his mother, uh, fully God, fully man,
Hmm.
born in Bethlehem in a manger. It is a historical event, I guess. You know how much I focus on history. So,
Hmm.
how can you talk about Christmas without this is now my Steve, the converted Christian who became a follower of Jesus Christ at the ripe old age of 48. How can you not make it about the God man was born, entered into the creation? God himself entered into the creation as a man. And so that's why, the title, Amazon or a man. Well, it's both and so we talked about the Amazon part there at the beginning, and
that is a part of it.
There's also the man part. When God became a man and walked among us and announced the new dispensation, the dispensation of his salvation, and the dispensation of human beings being, through him, the God man, Jesus Christ, human beings being restored to everything God created human beings to be. Christmas is the day we recognize as the day that man, Jesus Christ, entered into the world as an individual human being outside the womb of his mother. And the rest of the story, but that's Christmas.
So historically speaking, when was actually, do we know when the birth of Jesus was?
I think that I want to say yes, because of the fact that is sort of like the reason that I can say that Jesus was crucified not on or about, AD 30 to 30. No, Jesus was crucified on outside of Jerusalem on April the 3rd. A lot of people don't know this. April the 3rd, AD 33. We know exactly what day he was crucified. Why? Because a lunar eclipse rose over Jerusalem on that day, and the stars, the heavenly bodies, God created the heavenly bodies. It's the most accurate clock that we have. It's a clock, and you can rewind that clock. And so just based on astronomy, not astrology, astronomy, study of the stars and the moon and the movement of the planets.
And that is actual fact.
That's a fact. That is a scientific fact. We call it, it's not even an extra biblical fact, because the Bible talks about the red moon rising, and Peter referenced it. It's in Joel chapter 2 in the Old Testament prophets. It's Peter talking about it in his sermon on the day of Pentecost. He talks about the red moon, quoting from Joel. And so it's biblical, but also we can know just as a cold hard scientific fact that on April the 3rd, AD 33, a lunar eclipse, rose over the horizon of Jerusalem to bring in the Passover. And so Jesus was crucified on April the 3rd, AD 33. So what does that have to do with Christmas? You heard the story of the proverbial star, right? That the wise men were following. And there is some, I think, not just some, but I think there is significant scientific evidence that can talk about a very unique, not solar, but astronomical event that occurred right at that same time that Jesus was born. And it does place the event Jesus, when that star event occurred over Bethlehem, right on or very close to December the 25th.
Really?
What would be December the 25th?
I thought you were going to tell me it's a completely different day.
Places it very, very close. So the ancient tradition that celebrated on that day, I know there's a lot of noise about it being merged with a Roman tradition, but And you know, up to learning about the astronomical evidence for this star event that occurred right that would have been visible, and people, you got to understand, back in the ancient days, the movement of the moon and the stars relative to each other, and the annual solar event, those are all very important. People watched that, they observed it. And the relative movement of stars and planets in the sky every day, you know, they're getting closer together, moving further apart, moving up in the horizon, down in the horizon. They watched all that. They were very knowledgeable of it. And so there is evidence of a very unique event where I think it's actually two planets actually merged together over Bethlehem that became the very extraordinarily bright star. Yeah. And the wise men were seeing these stars coming together, moving together in a way that they never had before. And so they were following it and
probably charting its course and all the things that they did.
And those two stars, for a brief time, actually, stars, I think they were two planets, actually did overlap and became a very bright star
love
in the
the
sky.
history. I honestly thought you were going to tell me that Christmas should be in the middle, because I heard that somewhere, that Christmas was actually in the middle of summer. It has nothing to do with December 25th, and it was merged with Roman holidays, which, if we can, since we're talking about Amazon or man, and we've definitely covered that it is both. And so I would like to hear your thoughts on the fact that Christmas time, you have the Christians who are, you know, set on it can only be about Jesus, and we're going to even throw out the Christmas tree and throw out this and throw out that. And then you have some of us Christians who are
I feel sorry for them.
Yeah, so I just wanted to let's just say that we don't. I guess this is the second year that I have not felt
how
any
fun
guilt.
Your house must be.
Yeah, I don't feel this is the second year I haven't felt any.
That sounds judgmental, but I you know, it's such a fun time. If that's how you want to celebrate Christmas, God bless you. I apologize for sounding condescending. I shouldn't have, as I catch myself here after the fact.
It's okay.
But what I don't like is the suggestion that I've even heard it preached from the pulpit, that Christmas traditions that emphasize the commercial aspect is the way it's sold and talked. The commercial, I don't talk about the commercial aspect. I talk about it's a fun time for kids. Man, it's a fun time for kids because of that commercial aspect. If you like you do, if you pour your heart into making it a magical time for the kids, man, what memories, what fun that is, what creates.
And there's nothing wrong with taking one day out of the year and making a big deal, and you shouldn't walk around in any guilt about it.
I just hate those times when I've heard from the pulpit that kind of waters down the fun and kind of, to me, it's some of the worst part of religion when you can't have fun, because then ostensibly the thought is that you're taking the limelight off of Jesus. And well, yeah, you are. You are taking but that's, in my world, that's okay to say, you know, we're gonna, just like at Thanksgiving, you know, we pray, but man, when we're eating a big meal, we're not making a religious event out of eating a great meal. We're just sharing in a great meal. And so it's both, and it's the man, Jesus, who God, the God man Jesus, who God the Father sent into the creation. God, for the first time in the history, right? Creation has history. It is a beginning of time. History and creation are integrally tied together. And for the first time in his creation, for the first time in history, God entered into his creation, and he did it in the man Jesus Christ. And so, man, as a Christian, how can you not come into the Christmas season and not have that be such an important aspect of what the season is all about? It's about that moment in time that God came in, and He didn't just come in, enter into creation. He had a purpose. His purpose in entering into creation is us.
Yeah.
He did that for us to restore us to everything God created a human being to be. And it's done. I mean, there's more to come, and we all look forward to. You want to talk about the magic of Christmas? Anticipate that last day when we stand in front of Jesus when He returns. We see Him face to face. You want to talk about the magic of Christmas? When we see Jesus face to face, and we're given our new bodies. I don't think even in our wildest imagination, and some of us have pretty wild imaginations, can begin to fathom what that day is going to be like.
So then let me say this, ask you this. This came when we were talking about speaking in tongues several weeks ago. So what you're saying is us enjoying the magic and the just the specialness of the Christmas season. There's nothing irreverent. Jesus is not disappointed in, wondering.
Well, I will sit here and say categorically, if I'm not saying you can't do there. You can abuse anything.
Yeah.
And so as we talk, I'm anticipating that there are some who would throw a straw man into the argument and say, yeah, well, what about this? Well, what about if you do? You can always throw a straw. A straw man is an argument where you take the worst possible case.
Yep.
And you try to destroy the argument by using the worst possible case. So I'm saying, yeah, there's umpteen thousand straw men you could throw into the argument where I'd say, yeah, don't do that. That is irreverent. That is it's not really promoting the fun of making it a fun season where you're sharing presents and eating good food and you're around a lot of family and all that.
And singing Christmas songs that still point to Jesus.
You can real easy start to dump straw men into that and say, what about that? What about that? And I would say, well, no, not that. So notwithstanding the straw men that are so easy to throw into the argument, I'm going to say categorically no. There's nothing irreverent. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing offensive to God or Jesus by making a good, clean, fun season out of Christmas for family and especially the children and friends and community. And I just look at, what you do for your family, what Robin does in our family, and say categorically that there's no offense to God. I think it's pleasing to God because you're ministering so well in the gift that God's given to us of family and friends.
And if God can have fun and realign planets for the birth of His Son, then surely we can have fun doing what we do. Okay, that's good. I just wanted to hear Christmas is a fun time of year, and this is past 2 years of the first time I didn't go into the season feeling guilty because I should be doing this. I shouldn't be doing this because this is irreverent and this isn't giving glory to God. And what if I don't make it enough about, Christ and all that? And the past 2 years and this year, very much so, as I just went into this year, first of all, I recognize Jesus, I feel like daily. And this time of year, why not give a whole season to it? I'm not going to feel guilty about it. And it's fun and it's special. And the pretending of Santa and the singing Christmas carols and the cookies. And maybe that doesn't all mean Jesus, but it gives you an opportunity at any time to point that way. And I just love the Christmas season. I love it. And I just wanted to get you to just some personal, be some, personal in there, personal story. What does Christmas look like for you, mean to you? And I like that you said that you enjoy the magic of it for kids.
And for some that are listening might, Christmas can be hard for some people who don't have that kind of a family situation that's hard. Fun and to enjoy, and some have very bad. Some of you may have very bad memories of Christmas, and so we don't want to discount that. But I'll say this: If Christmas for you has not been a real fun, joyous time for whatever reason that it just it just wasn't, here's how I think you can make it a fun, joyous time: is just put some thought into it and go do something
Mm,
for someone, maybe even a child or a family
that's
that
good.
maybe you can enter into and go make it more special, more fun for them, and watch what happens to your whole mindset.
Mhm. Oh,
Go do
yeah.
something.
That's good. Let's end on that. And
Mhm.
I will say though, when I asked what Christmas meant to you, and you said the magic for children, I want you to know that's not a very pastory answer, but I love it. It makes me so
I think
happy.
it's very pastoral.
Okay, thank you for sharing. And I love that encouragement for anybody that is having a hard time. When you go and just enter in somewhere to kids or someone, a kid situation where you can enjoy it with the kids or a family, or I don't know what that
Go
looks like
go into
for
an old
you.
folks home
Oh
and
yeah,
do something. Yeah, there's a million ways to do it,
it
but
will fill your heart
yeah,
up.
if you want to bring joy into your Christmas season, think of something like that to go do
Yeah,
for someone else and watch. I, I guarantee you, your whole mindset will change.
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. Well, Merry Christmas
Merry Christmas to you.
to all of our Legacy Bible Church listeners. Merry Christmas. We hope that it's a great
Yeah. Merry
time.
Christmas. God bless you. And we'll be back again. But Merry Christmas to you.